in the end, you want people to also be telling you anecdotal symptoms too.
Yeah, just subjectively how they feel.
Whatever. And then, okay, like let's think about another cycle.
Right.
So it's never going to be, but people won't come off. And that's a problem. I got to tell you a story.
Okay, hit me.
So I went to the gym early this morning, obviously, right? And I'm like, whatever. That was fine. It went great. I'm walking out of the gym. I fell on my ass.
What's that mean? Like the ice?
I full on slipped and fell. Like that's never happened to me.
On the ice?
Yeah, like I was like, most times when I slip, I like can recover. I slipped and fell right on my butt, and like I was holding like a Kleenex because I was like trying to blow my nose. Kleenex goes flying. I land on my like hand.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have broke my wrist.
Yeah,
Prep would have been done.
Yes.
That was horrible. Yet another reason to get out of the cold.
Yeah, I know.
Like
winter sucks.
I literally fell.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that happened to me.
Yeah. And it was so quick. It just, my foot just, whoosh. I don't know. I thought the winter Crocs had my back.
Jeez,
They didn't.
Yeah, I don't have any good stories for you.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't have anything. Can't remember the last time I fell on my ass.
Anyways, point is, it's like I luckily still had body fat in my butt so that I could.
Yeah, I feel like a week out, this would be a worse thing.
Yeah.
Joints are dry.
Yeah, like you could hurt.
You're leaner.
Well, then also it's like the reaction time in the moment. Like I could have just had my hands up. I would have still just fell on my butt.
Yeah.
But like the fact that I just had to go put my hand, I don't know.
Have you had anything like that where you've had a client with an accident like outside of the gym where you're like, oh, I guess we're calling prep. You can't really train anymore.
It's a good question.
And they're in prep. Like obviously if you're in the off season, like you get hurt, whatever.
Not anyone that had to pull out of prep.
No?
No, it actually hasn't happened that I can remember right now, but
yeah,
I'm sure it happens. Happened to one of
for sure.
One of someone we work with. But that was still in the gym, I guess.
Yeah, I mean like something freaky, something weird. Or like a drunk accident or something.
Well, they're not drinking on prep.
Yeah, I guess
hopefully.
That's different than powerlifting. You shouldn't be drinking on powerlifting prep either.
No. Yeah, what do you think about that? Alcohol, how alcohol would affect, because obviously we're not, with bodybuilding, you're not drinking on prep, or at least you shouldn't be. But powerlifters, it's not nearly as intense. It's still, some follow a very regimented diet. And that's great.
Yeah.
For performance. Mostly you're trying to get calories in to fuel your lifts and be strong while being mindful of the weight class you want to be in.
Right.
Right. So, what's your view on like alcohol and strength? I guess.
I think it's like less sensitive to changes compared to like bodybuilders because of, bodybuilders' body composition being so much more important, and alcohol is like, I think it just influences body composition so acutely and so powerfully that you can't forget about the calories, just like the hormonal effects of it. It makes sense that you can't really fit that in on a bodybuilding prep, but with powerlifting, while it'd be like, I think less influential on your strength, it's still like so, I think it's just brutal, especially if you're using drugs, because then like your liver's just getting bombarded from every angle,
And I bet you a lot of the top pro powerlifters aren't consuming alcohol.
No, I think most people don't consume
right? Because you have
alcohol.
the
at least in excess.
You have the guys out there that are alcohol doesn't affect your strength at all. You can have it.
Who says that?
I don't know. Just Instagram people.
Who?
I don't know.
Show them. I don't know if that exists. It
Okay.
definitely, we know it does, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see
So
that.
then now that obviously weed has become legal in Canada.
Yeah.
Obviously people were using it a ton before,
Mhm.
but now that it's so easily accessible, I feel like, well, I mean, I don't know. People are using it. Bodybuilders are using it,
Yeah.
right? Without realizing the effects it has with estrogen.
They probably use it, right? Because of the fact that it's calorie free and they're like, this is kind of free. Like
yes.
if I want to partake in
Yes.
some psychoactive substance, a lot of them are going to, at least when it comes to booze, I guess, and things that aren't harder, it's going to contain calories of some kind.
Yes. Yeah. So they want to like, which I don't get because I like to go so hardcore that I almost am like, I don't want to have fun at all because I want to just be like 100% on prep.
Yeah.
right?
You're like, if I'm not suffering, then it's not. Yeah. You just want it to hurt.
Yeah, I want it to hurt. I like the extremes though, right? So I like the enjoying myself on the off season. Then I like but you have people that are smoking weed daily on prep. I mean, some of them, I guess, aren't as affected as others.
Do you think
right?
part of that's the stim? Like the use of stims? Like they're trying to counteract that?
I think it's, they want to relax at night. Some of them say they need it for sleep, which I don't agree with, but.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people just use weed in general, right? For stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not a bodybuilder
Hey, it helps
thing.
me relax. Hey, it gets rid of my anxiety, which you can get more anxiety with steroids anyways.
I think
while dieting.
Yeah. And to be honest, like a lot of people in powerlifting and bodybuilding abuse drugs, like performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you have an addictive tendency with those drugs, you're going to have an addictive. So it makes sense that you're kind of across different substances, you find that you're habitual or a habitual user. Like I think, that is kind of a weird one. Because it's like the same people that addicted, for sure.
Oh,
right?
for sure. They say, but these are the people that are like, weed's not addicting. They're also the ones that are like, steroids aren't addicting, but they for sure are mentally.
Right.
Because, if I'm off gear, I can't train at all.
Yeah.
I have no motivation to go to the gym at all.
I could see that.
So it's just,
I could see that.
right?
For sure.
They're like, I'm just going to like immediately lose all my size. It's like,
kind of like,
bro, that's not how muscle works.
It's kind of like the version of like when you start training and you get into the pre-workout game.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to Popeyes or GNC.
Careful.
What's that?
The creatine game.
No, pre-workout game.
Pre-workout first?
Oh yeah. You take pre-workouts. Yeah. When you're starting at the gym, you go get a pre-workout, go buy C4. And I'm like, I love this. This is fun. And then you can't not take it now.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with gear, I guess, for a lot of people. It's like, it's like that's now part of the ritual and you feel your best on it. It makes sense. Like, why would you willingly prefer not feeling better when you train? So it makes sense.
It makes sense
that it's addictive.
You would not willingly do that for your health.
No, that is the weird part.
You have to know that once you get off for what they're calling like a health phase, that you will go on again. Hopefully, assuming everything
feels or like blood markers and whatnot.
Or that if you have blood markers that are out of range, that you fix them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the ones that are out of range for people that I've seen tend to be red blood cell and hematocrit, which is usually from orals causing increased red blood cells, which makes sense, right? From is proliferation the right word? Yeah.
If it's growing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a big word for you.
It's
you
a
did
huge
it.
word for me.
I'm proud.
Whoa.
And you're the one with a degree, so you should know these things.
I didn't get an English degree.
It's okay.
But so that's an issue, which in that case you donate blood and it obviously helps. Obviously liver enzymes, but I've seen natural athletes with elevated ALT just because of the intensity of their training, which if you have a doctor that's well versed in sports medicine, they will also say that.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, right? That
It's
like
typical.
if you're training regularly and hard, that your ALT liver enzymes will be high.
And it won't be like jaundiced level. Like it won't be like actual
be
liver elevated, right?
But within normal range.
But something that you should still work on. Like I still think you can do like a liver protocol and bring those levels down to normal ranges while still keeping the training intensity high.
Especially with what we know about like liver health and how if it's backed up, it can have like some downstream systemic effects on other systems, that it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you can improve your liver's ability to detox and whatnot, then it makes sense. If you can bring that down a little bit, you're probably better off.
And I think
just all around
controlling and like helping the liver will also then help with there's was it the EGFR, the kidney markers? Because obviously those can be affected. I'm just thinking of the things I've seen out of range. The creatinine.
Yeah.
That's usually super high for people training in general.
Right. Because that's still a marker for kidney function, right? A little bit?
I think so, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's in the, I think it's in the urine part of it.
Yes.
And then what else would be out of range usually? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. Sometimes calcium can be, right? Some of your
calcium,
minerals.
I had a client that their B12 was like really high.
Was that a diet thing though?
Probably. But like,
or trace amounts. I've heard that too. Sometimes that can be from trace amounts.
So I actually asked them, like, are you doing a B vitamin or whatever? Just stop it. Like, I don't think is high. I actually don't know this. High B12 or high Bs is that they're water soluble.
Yeah, but it can be problematic.
It can be?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I actually 100%. Don't know this. That's a good...
Anything high can be problematic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
anything too low,
high
anything too high.
Yeah. Higher is not better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, like fixing those markers, obviously, in the end, you want people to also be telling you anecdotal symptoms too.
Yeah, just subjectively how they feel.
Whatever. And then, okay, like let's think about another cycle.
Right.
So it's never going to be, but people won't come off. And that's a problem.
Yeah, that is crazy, eh?
It's a big problem.
I used to definitely think like steroids and performance enhancing drugs that they weren't, I just assumed they weren't until I had personal experience. I assumed they weren't addictive. But I can definitely see how they are. They are psychoactive to a degree, right? Like they do work on your mood. They do affect your mood. They affect behavior. They affect, you know, I don't know, just like how you, irritability, depression, sleep, things like that are all affected, good or bad. Like,
to be honest, you sometimes are like, oh, I'm just angry at that guy. And I'm like, what do you do to you? Yeah, I remember one time in the gym, you're just like, I remember one time you're just like, oh, these people are pissing me off and they didn't do anything or whatever.
This is embarrassing.
Sorry. I'm sure I've had the same thing.
I swear I rarely do that.
You rarely. But like if you just have a day that's like, but it's just, you're aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're aware of, oh, it's because of, like, I'm not just angry for no reason.
Right. I'm taking something that
I'm
can
almost
affect that.
like lighting I'm putting the lighter fluid in there.
Right.
And then, oh, I caught a spark.
Do you think like the myth, like not the myth, the claim of roid rage, like, is that a thing? Because like people talk about that. Is that a real thing?
Yes, but I think that if someone's predisposition to being angry and being irritable, it'll be worse for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. They're more likely to
be more
an angry,
aggressive,
violent person.
Whereas I feel like if it's someone who's more reserved and stuff, they might just be even more reserved. But that's their version of roid rage. Like they'll get upset and they'll just be quieter because they either don't want to blow up.
Right.
Or they're just like, well, this is how I deal with it before. So I'm just going to be even more.
Yeah.
Right. That's personal experience with.
Yeah. Especially with, yeah. No, it is interesting, eh? Because that is something that seems to be pretty common, especially in like the normie conversations of performance enhancing drugs and people that don't have experience around that. I think that's like a subject of, or a topic of conversation.
Mm.
It's like roid rage. You take steroids and you get angry or you take too many. But
it's I think it depends.
I think it can make you irritable if you don't.
It can.
If you're taking certain doses of certain compounds that you don't.
And then.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of that's why.
I think that's the importance of like understanding, trying to improve. If you do decide to take PEDs,
you said doo-doo.
Doo-doo. You said
if you doo-doo.
You said doo-doo. Doo-doo.
Sorry.
If you do.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you do decide to take PEDs, it's like, I think it's important to continually try and learn about how they work and then pay attention to how you work with them.
Yes.
Because then you can figure out dosing, you can figure out compounds that do work for you, don't work for you, work less for you, work more for you, longer for you, less time for you.
I will say this. Sometimes you feel like you have to feel a side effect to know it's working when you actually don't. Does that make sense?
No. No idea what you mean. Explain that.
Yes. I'm talking more for women, I think, here.
Oh, okay.
I feel like some women will ignore side effects, virilization or whatever, because they're like, well, this means it's working or it's real.
What do you mean? How are you ignoring it but then saying it's real? What do you mean?
Well, okay, say a friend of mine was using one compound and she was experiencing scratchiness in the throat. She was experiencing the very severe irritability.
Yeah.
She was experiencing not pleasant changes in her body.
Yeah.
But she says to herself, well, this is apparently the safest compound for women. So this must just mean that it's working. Right?
Oh, so she's not ignoring them. She's
well, still ignoring it because
I get it.
It's like, no, like those aren't normal and you should stop that compound.
I get what you're saying. She's aware of them happening and then she chooses to ignore them.
Yeah, like you need to stop. If you feel any of that, you need to stop. Because it shouldn't, if it's a good compound for you, it almost shouldn't feel like anything.
Like you could almost describe it like the desired effects and the negative side effects, the unwanted effects. That ratio should be skewed more and more towards desired effects if it's a compound that works well for you. Right?
Yes.
That makes sense.
So then this friend changed to something else and now is like, wow, I could feel this good. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's all I'll say about that. I just won't.
It's interesting, eh?
Yeah.
The weed and booze thing's though interesting because it's like it is interesting how the same type of people typically that enjoy PEDs will also enjoy regular drinking or regular marijuana
and then on occasion and sometimes regular like harder party drugs too.
Yeah, I guess that's just a human thing though.
But here's something interesting. With the big like kick in like mental health awareness coming out, I still feel like there's not enough support maybe in the bodybuilding because like a lot of bodybuilders are depressed,
right,
or are very anxious, or have severe body dysmorphia to an actual diagnosable level, or have eating disorders, or have any realm of mental health diagnoses that I feel like it's almost like the industry is like, well, society's dealing with that these days. So society can just deal with them. Where I don't feel like I feel like the industry has to do a better job in like, and I'm not all for like babying people because I don't think that's what it is. I think there needs to be support options because we've seen bodybuilders commit suicide because of their depression and they don't know where to turn. There's no options for them. They feel like no one will understand when probably everyone will understand, or at least a high number
that are in the community.
Right? Because you just want to feel understood at that point, because by people who do what you do, right? Like if I was to go and like talk to just some rando on the street as a bodybuilder, they'd be like, I can't relate to you at all, right?
Particularly, I guess, if some of your issues stem through the sport.
Yeah.
Or because of
or,
it.
Either because of it, or like, I mean, I guess people can develop issues while during it, but I feel like a lot of it comes from beforehand.
Yeah.
And then either they get elevated or they just don't go away.
Yeah.
And then there's just no like internal industry support for mental health.
Yeah.
When there's like clearly quite a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I just think it'd be cool to see within the next few years if there's a change on that. And if, presidents of organizations or someone comes in and is like, hey, this is actually just as much as it's an issue in society, it's also an issue in our industry, and we need to look after our own as well.
What does that look like? Like, what would they do?
Yeah, we need to offer, I guarantee you there's bodybuilders out there that are also therapists or psychotherapists or someone like, why don't, you get them into the industry and have them specifically just treating other bodybuilders.
Right.
Right? Because it's like when you find a really good doctor, like you'll call them the bodybuilding doctor, because they can read your blood work properly. They know what an athlete is supposed to look like and do and with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll bring the person who can do that for the mind, right? Specifically. So support like that. I'm sure like people would be willing to volunteer, just like, like almost like a helpline thing. Like if people want to text like, hey, I'm going to do something bad or whatever, right? Sometimes they just need someone to talk to.
You think sure bodybuilders are less likely to reach out to like conventional means?
No, they're still humans.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I just think they don't have. No, I think they will. I just don't think they don't think a regular therapist or a regular person will understand them at all.
That's what I'm questioning. That's what my question is. Like because of that, you think they're less likely to reach out to conventional means?
Yes, conventional, yes.
Yeah,
because they won't feel understood.
Okay.
Because unless you've been doing this sport,
like they'd be more likely to confide in someone for sure, who's like, oh, I used to do that too, or I still do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone that's like, I will totally understand you. I've prepped 10 times. I've done this many shows. I've used stuff you're using.
Yeah.
Like, oh, perfect. So you know exactly how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think like some progress can be made.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be interesting to see. Like, it's just something I've noticed. Right. And maybe there is support out there that I don't know about.
Yeah.
That's really cool if there is.
Right.
But I think that's like a great, and like, so what I say, a helpline, a bodybuilding therapist or psychotherapist or whatever.
Yeah.
Access to like maybe just behavioral therapies you can do on your own if you don't want to reach out to someone else. Because sometimes bodybuilders are regimented, right? Regimented, dedicated. If they wanted to, if they're aware and they're like, hey, I'm feeling this, but I don't want to reach out to anyone, but I want resources that I can do on my own.
Right.
That I'll be regimented with that will help me.
Yeah. Like I'm independent. Right? I can probably do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just access to resources that are geared, pun intended, towards bodybuilders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. It'd be really cool to see. I think powerlifters need it too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if they feel as much as like misfits as bodybuilders, but like they kind of are, but bodybuilders may like feel,
that's what Lucy because they're said visually they're a bunch of
different.
Misfits.
They may feel it more so. I'm not sure.
Lucy said the powerlifters are.
No, they are misfits.
Yeah.
I'm saying they don't. I don't know if they entirely see themselves as that as much as bodybuilders.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because they're not as like visually different from the average person.
Yeah,
like they are, but not as much as bodybuilders. Like
no,
300-pound guy shredded.
You could spot like a strong. Like we know some big Canadian powerlifter boys that are visually like that dude's big, and not just
Yeah, but they just look
fat.
big. They don't look.
Yeah,
They're not
The
misfits. They just look big.
Bodybuilding,
Yeah.
bodybuilding's a different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different.
Just looks like a dude who benches a lot and goes to, I don't know, the odd drive-through. You know?
I can't remember the last drive-through I went. Probably just a Timmy's.
Yeah, no, I haven't been through a drive-through.
I went to pick up my ring, and right in front of where I parked was a Mary Brown's. Just cars, it's like 3 p.m. and the drive-through is packed at Mary Brown's. That's wild.
Yeah, I've never been there.
No, I know, but that's just wild to me. Like these fast food restaurants, just all day.
So convenient. You don't have to get out of your
you
car.
guys gotta eat healthier, man. I just can't boycott the.
No,
boycott
it's harder
fast
than
food.
that. It's harder than that. It's going to take more than that. It's too easy. They're everywhere,
I know.
you know?
Well, I'm boycotting them.
Yeah, it's okay. There's some good ones. Less
Yeah.
bad ones.
I mean, actually, you had a resource that's really good.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of
The,
food that's like fast food that isn't absolute,
Yeah,
dog shit.
yeah,
But
that's fair.
Yeah.
And actually, like, I think I'm just referring to the actual ingredients.
Yeah, like any
Like,
of
I
like
feel
the
like
deep
they're
fried,
so the oils are crap
just
and
fake food.
yeah. When really, like, you see on the, when it's like dieting and it's like oatmeal and peanut butter or whatever, and it shows the calories, and then it
Yeah.
shows Big Mac, and the Big Mac's actually less calories.
Yeah.
That's cool in terms of calories in, calories out, but
Yeah.
like in terms of like what you're actually putting in your body.
I have an interesting idea. When you were saying like different ideas to give people like bodybuilders access to mental health stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think this already exists. Like I think like John Jewett and stuff like that world of like PED education. So that is already a thing, but more of stuff like that would be good, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like access to, I think like safer use models and stuff.
Yep.
Because like how many people do you think when it comes to their performance enhancing drug use, at least bodybuilders, how many of them do you think are not honest about their dosages when asked by colleagues or whoever?
Yeah, probably not a lot, but like some like to brag. So some are,
Like they like to brag how much they use?
yeah.
Huh.
So maybe some even inflate it.
That's weird, eh? Because
It
like
is
I can
weird,
see the
but-
opposite. People being
but-
like,
Alex is telling us to be quiet, so I think we gotta end this.
wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll continue this.
Okay, go to YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube. Go to YouTube.
Hi, Mom.
Go like, subscribe, rate it. When you're on Spotify, when you're finished this episode, go rate it right away. It takes you like 2 seconds, 3 clicks. And then send us some
Subscribe.
feedback. Send us some feedback.
Comment
Stay Peaked.
below.
It's too many.
Okay.
Too many. Just rate, like, subscribe. See ya.
Bye.